This battery charger has been on here about a week. Since it was snowing, it's been sub-zero a lot of the time. This car had been power draining a bit in the meantime. So let's give a quick check with the test meter and see how the battery now looks. Yeah, 13.1, oh, it's fallen off. 13.17, that's a solid charge there. So if we fire this thing over in a second, it should be fine. Right, so will that fully charged battery after a week in the cold fire the car up? Yeah, of course it will. Right, let's go into the post-run in Quentin. Let's go in the boot anyway, because there's a lot of envelopey things. I don't want them disappearing over the hedge. Well, that's a few envelopes for tomorrow. I've got a few in the garage already, so tomorrow's junk in the trunk, loot in the boot section hopefully will be quite interesting. Right, let's go a bit more of a drive in this thing. Oh, immobiliser. That is why I'm using it today, to try and shake down any little issues with the thing to make it run properly in the future. Right, let's go for a drive. I'm not taking the direct route home, gone a little bit further because I'm still shaking down the problems with this car. Number one being, well, obviously no roof, but that's now booked in for 2 weeks from today, so depending when you watch this video, that'll be less than 2 weeks from today. I need to sort out the fuel gauge because that's still not working. It's going to take the wiring off the bottom of the car, and hopefully it's a bad connection somewhere, because I really don't want to have to send the fuel pump back out again and redo all that malarkey, because that was a pain to do. Got no radio power, no power to the clock apparently either. The driver's mirror is pushed in too far, so it'll go in even further if I want it to, but not out really far enough to see where I'm going. The heater is fantastic, that's a major relief, because I don't get convertibles, it's way too cold to be doing this, and when the sun comes out it's way too hot. That's madness. Why to the roof of a car? Insanity. But on level 2, nothing seems to be coming out, and that's a fairly common problem with these cars, is that the blower resistor is basically just resisting wire burns out. Fortunately, unlike the Alpha where you have to take the entire dashboard out, you can just reach through the back of the glove box. It's about £9 to fix it, so I'll get onto that fairly shortly. But the main point of coming this way today, apart from shaking down problems, finding problems really, so I can get everything addressed on it, is I'm going to go and see if there's a paint shop I know is open and able to give me a quote today about painting the wings, because he's one of those people who's very good and he's not too expensive either. That's what I want for this car, because I could go to the place near me which did the roof of the Convertible and the front end of the Mini, and they are really, really good, and they're fast too, because they're like mainly an accident repair place. They do new cars all day long and churn them through really rapidly, but they're not cheap. So you're basically paying insurance prices for fast turnaround. So it's maybe a bit of a delay, but if it saves me by half the price, then that's worth doing. Unfortunately, that particular painter guy is still very good, but he's no longer very cheap. So he would be willing to do it, but it was going to cost me a couple of £1,000, which is a shame. It would be nice to have him paint it, but I need to go and find somewhere a bit cheaper or learn to paint myself. This is when driving a convertible stops being fun. Pointing me in the way of another painter who's hopefully going to be a bit more cost effective for me. Now that is a nice car in front. Aston Martin V12 Vantage S. Well, I'm back at home again and once again ensconced in the leather-clad comfort of Quentin's interior. As you can tell, I'm wearing the black hat of garage in this, which means I'm going to do some work on this thing. But before I crack into that and tell you all about what I'm about to do, I will complete what I was doing the day before yesterday. Yeah, getting quotes on painting this thing. Well, basically, the last guy who I spoke to was very keen to do the job. He was quite enthusiastic and quite helpful, very helpful in fact. He gave me two prices. Firstly is my initial price, the bare minimum what I require, in my opinion, to make this car basically presentable, which means obviously the red wing painting, the bonnet is being replaced. Nitro Silvia has got a spare 200 flat bonnet, unlike the coupe with the bulge bonnet that I'm going to have off him to make this a bit nicer, because that's a bit rotten underneath this bonnet. That left-hand wing, the passenger side, is also a little bit, the paint's kind of blistered on or bubbled on top, doesn't look very nice, and the bumper has been painted in the past, but it's flaking off, so that entire front end needs painting and then blending into the doors. If I do a lot of the prep work, stripping things down and stuff, he's going to charge me, he's quoted me, give or take, these things never wind up as they planned, £400, which I think is pretty reasonable for the entire front end of a car. I'm pretty taken with that quote. But as he walked around the car, and I pointed out where it needs that rear quarter blowing in around the arch, and there's a scab of lacquer peeled off on somewhere around the side, and where it's been under a tarp for, oh damn, just poured coffee on myself, where it's been under a tarp for 7 or 8 years, it's worn the paint back down to the metal basically on the lip of the boot. That needs blowing in as well. So his recommendation, which I'm kind of interested in, which would also involve sorting out all the little nicks and dents and things on the doors and everything else, would be to do the entire car. And because there's no roof and only 2 doors, that would only cost £900. And I can hear you saying, 900 quid? That's just yet another £1,000 basically on the cost of painting the car. So I am tempted to go that route though, because the car would then be so nice. It'd have a brand new roof on it, brand new paint, all the work I've done to it. It's going to be an absolute cracker if I do that. So I'm very tempted to do that. Although I could even do it myself. I mean, how hard can it be? Very hard. I know it's very hard. I've painted cars in the past. It's very hard. I've got a compressor. I've got a decent spray gun. I have done painting in the past. I just need to put up a big tent on the driveway and get myself a decent air feed mask because the modern paints are a bit nasty compared to the old ones I used to use. So that is a distinct possibility. We could be painting this car in a couple of weeks' time. But in the meantime, let's look at the fuel gauge, because the warranty on that fuel pump is only going to last so long. I've got a bunch of other cars I do need to work on, but I don't want to be spending out another 200 quid on another fuel pump for this thing if it's a duff sender. So I need to figure out what isn't working, apart from the needle not moving, obviously. So let's look into that right now. Now, the first thing to look at here is the fuses. This one, number 1, does the instruments, but then every other instrument is working, so I can't imagine that would be the dead one. Now I have got a table. Oops. I have got a table of all the fuses here on the back of the cover, but this convertible does tend to be randomly different to every other car in the range. So I'm taking that with a grain of salt and pulling every fuse on the off chance that something's broken. I mean, that would be just awesome if it was. I just wanted to check there was actually power going to the ancillary circuits in case that's linked at all, because I didn't seem to get any power to the radio when I was trying to fit a new stereo the other day. And so I've plugged me into the cigarette lighter socket. The first thing I could find is, of course, my phone, which is getting a charge.
Buenas.
It says check card. Hang on.
Thank you.
I think the battery might not be very good on this one anymore.
Oh.
Check card. I need one of those old credit card size ones, really.
When can we go play Jeremy the Hamster?
Right, this is the connector to the fuel pump and fuel sender. And in previous videos, people have seen this on the bottom and said, "Oh my god, the floor is really rusty." It's not. It's just the old factory under seal is flaking off, so it looks pretty hideous. If I get underneath this thing with a wire brush and some under sail spray of some kind, that will look quite decent. Anyway, let's go and unplug this thing, which I've just dragged down. Right. Over on the Rover 200/400 Owners Club forum, I did find a downloadable PDF of the wiring diagrams service booklet for these cars, and it says that the green-black wire, which you can see being pointed to with the light just right now, that is the one that feeds to the fuel gauge. Ground out to something metal, something with an earth, then the fuel gauge should leap up. So I've So I've pushed a bit of wire in there. Let's see if we can get it in there any further actually, because I'm not quite sure of that. And then we're going to see if that's doing anything on the dashboard. Well, good news, bad news. Good news is the gauge works and the loom under the car works, because that is showing full tank. The bad news though is that does also mean that the problem lies with the sender, which is inside the tank, which means I've got to open the floor of the car again, get that fuel pump and sender unit out again, return it to the shop, get a new unit in, and then refit the whole lot, and then reseal the floor of the car again. Because the other thing you have to do, or the other way of doing it, the correct way, is to actually take the tank off the bottom of the car, but that's a horrible job, and every bolt was seized, and it's going to just kill the car basically. So that's why we've gone for the hole in the boot floor option, which I had now made look really nice, so you couldn't tell it was there at all now. Means I've got to cut it all out again. Not massively impressed. Oh well, I'm going to make a phone call to the part supplier. So there we have a minor update on Quentin, the convertible. We now know why the fuel gauge isn't working. It's all down to the sender in the tank, which is mightily annoying. I'm not going to pull it out straight away, because I've got the car booked in for its hood being refitted, retrimmed in, well, under a week now, week and a half away. So I'll call the suppliers of the pump and make sure they've got another one in I can change straight away, instantly, not have to, you know, take it out and then wait a few days for a new pump, because I can't have it immobile now if it's going to go off to the trimmers. So, right, that wasn't quite how I was hoping that was going to go. I was rather hoping we'd end up with, yes, the car is fine and it's fixed, and that was a nice easy fix with a fuse or something stupid like that, not empty the floor again or open the floor again. Never mind. Oh, thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this, please hit like and subscribe. I'm trying very hard to get this channel to 50,000 subscribers before Easter. That's my kind of cut-off deadline attempt, really. If you like this content, do please hit the subscribe button. If you've got a friend who might like it, forward it on to them, see if they'd like it as well. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.